As we grow up, we gain financial responsibilities, and there are moments where a person would not be able to afford for oneself. Fortunately, there's a way to temporarily mediate it, and it's through lending money, termed as loan. Loan has many different forms, so it's important to first have a universal definition of the term before giving examples. According to Cambridge Dictionary, loan is an amount of borrowed money that requires to be paid back with an extra amount in exchange for borrowing. An example of a loan is student loan, where a student borrows money from banks to pay for their education and pay it back when they finish studying and begin working. As money is a valuable asset, it is necessary for everyone to learn about loans, for it will give a person a guide in handling finances. And with this, we'll provide the simple approach as a guide through computational thinking.
To learn more about loans, it is important to connect it to a simple approach to problem solving called computational thinking. With this in mind, examples will be provided to let everyone have an idea on how it works.
When buying a house, most people take certain loans from a bank for the amount they finance or still unpaid. And when a loan is given, it is soon paid with interest in equal monthly installments over a period of time, usually from 15 to 30 years. Mortgage, specifically simple mortgage, is a type of loan where the borrower loans a house or property, and the lender has the right to sell it if the borrower fails to pay the loans. To have a better understanding of it, we will provide an example using computational thinking as an approach to make it easy and simple.
Say for instance you buy a house of 250 pesos. Then you make a down payment, 15% of the purchase price, and take a 30-year mortgage for the balance. How much is the mortgage? To solve this problem and the later ones, we will be using the concept of computational thinking, which has a step-by-step process that will help in creating a consistent solution to problems such as this.
To begin, one must consider the decomposition stage of computational thinking, such as how many years will you pay, how will you compute for the mortgage, how will you determine the down payment, what are the values given, such as the down percentage and the purchase price.
Afterwards, one must use the abstraction stage of computational thinking, which is related to simplifying this equation to only its important factors. So for example, the down payment, which is equivalent to purchase price times percent down. So for example, 200 pesos or 250,000 pesos worth of purchase price times 15% worth of percent down is equivalent to 37,500 pesos worth of down payment. And for the amount of mortgage, which is equivalent to purchase price minus down payment, and for example, 250,000 pesos worth of purchase price minus 37,500 pesos worth of down payment is equivalent to 212,500 pesos worth of amount of mortgage. So if we use abstraction, the formula or the simplified formula that we get in return is, and M is equivalent to mortgage, P is equivalent to purchase price, and PD is equivalent to down percentage in decimal.
When the problem has been simplified, one must use algorithmic thinking, which is related to creating a solution for the problem with a step-by-step process. First, multiply the down percentage and the purchase price. Then subtract the product from the purchase price.
Overall, the equation is very efficient, straightforward, and can easily be followed. The only main issue is that this equation can only accommodate specific values such as the down percentage and purchase price, as well as it only being used for simple mortgage problems and not complex ones, where loan, taxes, and insurances are given.
Not everyone buys houses. Some also buy cars, with many being purchased through car installment plans. Installment plan is a payment method where one can do an upfront purchase and repay the remaining amount in the following months. As usual, we will provide examples of car installments, which will be solved with the help of computational thinking.
Marco, a fairly rich man, wants to buy a decent car for his family of 4. but doesn't have enough money upfront, so he plans to apply for a car installment. To make it easy to solve, we will be using computational thinking as a template to solve the problem.
The first step to perform is problem decomposition, which is where we find what questions we need to consider, such as how to choose which car to buy, how much can be afforded based on the monthly gross income. It is important to ask this as banks will only loan a certain percentage of money and will verify if you can pay them back. Additionally, how big in seater capacity does the car need to be? And does the car need to be brand new or used, such as second-hand cars? It is also essential to consider this as banks have different rates for new and used cars. Additionally, how to choose which bank to loan from, how much do you need to loan? It is necessary to consider this as different banks have different minimum and maximum loans. Moreover, how much is the interest and how much time is needed to pay off your loan.
After looking at the possible considerations and questions that one may ask, the next step is to do abstraction, which is simplifying it. So first, only pay attention to the documents needed for eligibility. Second, other non-installment offers of banks are not needed. And lastly, taking note of unimportant technical details of the car is also not needed or not important.
After taking the conditions and removing the unnecessary details, now it is time to create a step-by-step process through algorithmic thinking. First, consider your financial situation, consider which car to buy, consider which bank to loan from, compare loan offers from different banks, check eligibility and requirements per bank, calculate the cost, and lastly, apply and wait for the confirmation.
With the steps finally laid out, it is time to evaluate the approach done to see if it will be effective. In terms of correctness, it is correct because you were able to secure a loan and buy a car. In terms of efficiency, it is efficient because all steps were necessary to save the most money and time. In terms of elegance, it is elegant because the solution is as simple as it can be. And lastly, it is usable because it is relatively easy to follow. After all the steps, Marco has finally decided to buy a brand new Toyota Corolla worth 1 million pesos and plans to pay it in 72 months. And because all banks don't offer installments, paid over 5 years, he chose to go with the BPI family auto loan, all with the help of algorithm that was made.
While not everyone buys houses or cars, some would prefer starting their own business, wishing to create an empire of goods to be sold to millions. As some people don't have enough money, they have to borrow money in order to afford it, and those are called business loans. Business loans are part of the financing, and it's where one can lend money, usually from banks, in order to finance one's growing business.
Lance, an owner of a small business, needs 1 million pesos for his bag selling business. Unfortunately, he currently lacks money to start it, requiring a loan from the bank. With Lance needing our help for applying for a business loan, we will be using computational thinking to give him a simple step-by-step process in applying for money.
The first step is to perform problem decomposition in order to know what is needed for applying for a business loan. First, which bank will one apply from? How will one apply for a business loan? What are the requirements to apply for a business loan? And what is the capability of repaying the loans? Additionally, how long will the loan be repaid? How much money is needed? And at what interest rate will the person be willing to pay? Lastly, it is important to know for what purpose will the business loan be.
As we have looked at the considerations and questions, the next step is to simplify it through abstraction. So first, factors such as Lance's personal life are not important as it does not affect the rates of the business loan. And second, the location of the bank and the business specifics such as the brand and products or the brand of the product sold are also unnecessary as the rates of the banks are not based on location.
Since the problem has been decomposed and abstracted, the next step is to create a simple process for Lance to follow through algorithmic thinking. First, consider the finances. Next, determine the interest rate, amount borrowed, and the number of periods. Third, calculate the monthly interest rate. Next, add 1 to the interest rate. Raise interest rate by the negative number of periods. Then subtract the result from 1. Multiply rate per period by the original money borrowed. Then divide the result from the fourth step by that result from the third step. And lastly, apply for the loans with a calculated rate in mind.
With the help of these steps, Lance was able to apply for a business loan, but it took him time to be able to compute it. While the process was able to calculate the interest rates he is interested in, the formula was not very simple for a person not familiar with business math, which reduces its usability and elegance. Additionally, it is recommended to use a calculator or just look for a loan calculator online for more efficient results.
Overall, loans are a valuable aspect of many of our purchases and problems, such as these require the guide of approaches such as computational thinking. While it is not the perfect way of solving everything, computational thinking is still useful in many situations, and not just in the computer science that it is associated with.